Okay, hey everybody, and welcome to my third try to record that video. I'm just too freaking hyped to do this video just in a calm and normal way. I'm just making so many mistakes because I'm faster than I should be. Anyways, we are here in the analysis trailer, and we are going to look completely deep into what is going on with Planet Zoo. We've gotten a few things from a press release kit, and one of those things you can see already in the background. I had used this in my little short announcement video a few minutes ago already. This is a artwork. It's not finished in-game footage. We are going to look onto a screenshot that is actually from in-game in just a second, but for the moment let's start with this image over here, and I hope you can see my arrow key. You should be able to see my cursor right now. So yeah, what you can tell from this picture already is that they really go into the classic zoo attempt, which is a bit more on the large size. It's not that, in Germany we have different types of zoos, whereas some zoos are basically that kind of big zoos, as you can see in here. We've also some smaller ones that are more like indoor themed with like aquariums and stuff, and you can also tell from various things that there are also some zoos that more are on the safari side of things, that are basically a bit more widespread, a bit more open, a bit more less themed to it. But it seems that Planet Zoo, obviously the game should be again very free in terms of what you can do, in terms of how creative you can get with the tools. So I'm really hoping for the best that this is going to be awesome, and you can create any type of park you wish. So yeah, I'm really happy to see what they're going to do with Planet Zoo in this image. Now let's see a few details here and there. So as I said, you can see over here, which I found very interesting. This seems to be right to the right hand side of the head of the lion. If you're on a mobile phone and can't see my cursor really, this seems to be really a nice big shed for the animals living in this big enclosure. And right above this, as you can see over here, there is a big train steaming around, and I had so many questions about this train. So is the zoo that big that we need a train to go around? Or might this even be a train that brings people to the park? So one of the bigger issues I personally had with Planet Coaster was that, every kind of connection to the park area was always a bit like, there's just a spawn point. You could hide them in a scenario editor later on, but there's not really that nice kind of interaction. For example, buses can arrive and there's a train coming in. I don't know, even an airport connection, I don't know. But, these kind of things are hotspots for tourists and a lot of people coming there. So the question really is, why not having a external kind of connection? So maybe this train over here is this kind of connection. I really wish this would be something like that, but it could be also just a normal train going around the park, which, to be honest, would also be very, very important and very cool. However, always remember, this is just a concept art, so many things you won't really see in the late game, but it gives you an idea of what the developers think of. So every artwork has elements in it that help the actual developers to develop a game from an idea perspective, and many concepts that go into it will be withdrawn while processing the game and while looking into which directions you can really see the game goes. But in the end of the day, this really is something awesome, and you can really tell from it that this is nice. Another good thing is that we are going to have glass. I'm mentioning this here because Planet Coaster haven't had glass from the beginning, and it was a big deal for the community, and I think zoos without glass are kind of pointless, and this is due to the fact that you need them for like the enclosures, for like viewing spots, for like everything. So I'm pretty sure we have it, and you can tell from various things over here, like for example this glass pavilion over here and all the glass elements with the enclosures. Super nice. You can also see that there are various types of enclosure fences. So we have this wooden fence over here, another wooden fence over here, some bigger log fences down here. You can see that we have somewhat more of a concrete one on the left hand side over here with the I think it's antelopes over here. I don't even know which kind of animals. We have obviously the brown bears here, the grizzlies. We have giraffes, we have a zebra, we have elephants. Can we spot anything else in this image? We will see some more animals in another one, but I'm not quite. Obviously, yes, lions. I should have mentioned them before. We have lions here. No camels, though. No camels. I don't know why, but you know, there should have been camels. However, you can see that there will be shops available as well. We have potentially, this is kind of an indoor bird cage. I can't really tell from the image, but it could be. But yeah, this is all I want to say about the concept. Oh, maybe one more thing, but we're going to talk about that even more in the actual screenshot. In the end, we're going to look into the trailer again, but the same thing is actually valid for the trailer as it is for this image. It's just a concept art, so it's not really relevant for the game. Well, it is, but not 100%. So the one thing I wanted to point out is that we do have this little ball in here, the football, in middle of the elephant enclosure, and also this kind of thing where they can lean on with their how's the thing called? I don't even know how the elephant thing is called, like the big tail on his nose. I don't know. I don't know how it's even called in English. Anyways, yeah, you can see that they can play. This is really nice. It seems that they can play, and you know, a normal zoo should basically have this. Animals need to play, and it seems that we have the possibility. Many things will go into it, and yeah, we will discuss the next part of the video. We'll be discussing about the screenshot. Alright, so here we are in the screenshot, and this will take a while now to look exactly at what is going on. This is an actual screenshot from the game, and before we go into details, I really want to point out that the graphics in terms of, you know, comparing it to Planet Coaster, they're immensely better, because at the first glance you think of a Planet Coaster screenshot. Obviously it's the same engine, or at least it's I think it's an evolution of the engine they used for Planet Coaster. Obviously, it should be, because that makes total sense, because they did the same with Jurassic World Evolution, and now they are back with Planet Zoo. And one thing I want to exactly point out here, it seems like a mixture of what Jurassic World Evolution brought in and Planet Coaster. So it has definitely a better ground textures than Jurassic World Evolution, but at the same time it seems to share at least the shading and the vegetation rendering style, or whatever I should call it, from Jurassic World Evolution. You can really see in the background that it looks a million times better. Obviously, as always, the game is not optimized quite yet. This is totally normal. This is the early stage of the game, developed on the best computers the developers have, and this is basically a screenshot from one of the best computers. This is as it is in real life, always the same. So yeah, there's nothing really to worry about that it doesn't look good in the end, but this is a very early on screenshot, and just keep that in mind. But we are going to look onto a million great things in this image, and we are going to start with the more normal ones, and this is going to start over. Whoops, let me just run one more back. This is our friend the elephant, and what you can tell from this elephant already is that it looks gorgeous. I mean, we know from Jurassic World Evolution that Frontier is capable of doing great animals, but you can really see the detail in here. The textures are amazing. It looks really nice. It does really have a weight to it. It really looks decent. And if we go over to the right hand side, you can see that there is one elephant kind of lying on the floor. I think it's sleeping, or at least resting. One thing we haven't had at the beginning of Jurassic World Evolution is definitely the problem that the dinosaurs couldn't rest, and you know, they patched this later, and it seemed that they really did a great job on that. Another little element is that we have babies. Also, one thing we don't have in Jurassic World Evolution are babies. As you can see, he's eating some lovely melons and stuff, so this seems to be the feeder. You've seen this in the concept art as well, this little thing over here. It seems to be a feeder variant. I guess we will have several ones for different animals, but this is one of those. Another really interesting bit is this one over here. Let me just zoom in. You can see this white spot over here, and also this white spot over here. And if we zoom out a little bit, you can see the same down here, and you know, various spots over here. And spots is exactly what I wanted to point out here. These are lights, and they seem to indirectly light the area around here. And it's fields, and I mean, it would be totally ridiculous if not that Frontier really gives us the possibility again to build this all by hand. I mean, this doesn't look like a pre-built enclosure, or like a, you know, done with a little bit of a brush as it is in Jurassic World Evolution. Definitely it was a very, very different approach to it, but yeah, it isn't. One thing also I want to point out is this bit over here, the kind of pillar or whatever this kind of thing is, which is in the middle here, looks also like a little bit of a style element. I don't really know what exactly this is, but to my eyes it really looks good. It really looks super awesome. Why can't I move here? Okay, I don't know why I can't move this way. Anyways, let's zoom out a little bit. I really found this totally interesting because, again, this doesn't really look like done with a brush. Another good example that this isn't done with a brush is, and let me just zoom in here and take the, oops, why is that so big? Let me just make this one smaller. Oops. That should be right about enough. Right. If we paint alongside this boulder over here, boom, this one, and we paint alongside this one, they look pretty similar. They're not exactly the same, but they look totally similar, which is another hint that this is done by hand and not by kind of stacking one element down here, which is very important to me. I don't know how you guys do see that, but for me this is really important. So now let's look at this little bit down here. I have no real clue what that is. I have some ideas. So first things first, it could be somewhat of a speaker, but I don't really know why this should be a speaker. My idea is, and I really hope that I'm right with this one, this could be a sprinkler, like a little fountain, and that won't make total sense to me, because this is an enclosure, and I don't know where exactly the zoo would be located, but we have animals that also need water and kind of a wet soil at some points. I don't know how humid or kind of, which area it is, but looking at the trees and stuff, that looks like Central Europe, which is not exactly the area where elephants live. And maybe this is something to adjust the behavior, or kind of not the behavior, but the kind of style the enclosure does represent. So maybe this is kind of making it more southern located, more Mediterranean. I shouldn't, I've problems with my mouth anyways at the moment. I shouldn't pronounce these kind of complicated words. However, I think this is basically what we can talk about in this screen in the middle here, but there are so many other things. I don't really know what that is. I think it's another ball, right? Yeah, it seems to be like another ball. They seem to have a lot of balls in here. I don't know if you can put more balls in by hand, or is it like a spawner? No idea at all. The next little detail I wanted to look at with you guys is this bit over here. Let me just zoom in. This looks very familiar, doesn't it? It really looks like the Planet Coaster toilet. And why I'm showing a toilet to you? Well, you might think this camel has some weird ideas again. Not exactly. A toilet is important, right? Yes, we all agree. And we all agree that it is cool to put down a toilet in a park. What's even better is to have the possibility to style this to your liking. And this is what's happening here, because this is the same toilet as in Planet Coaster. This is just the base building, and someone just built some wooden elements around, which is another hint at the piece-by-piece building style as we have in Planet Coaster. I think we can see that as a given. But way more important than this is that we do have these single buildings again that we can put down, which is super awesome for me as a sandbox player, but also for the management part of things. Management, I don't really want to talk too much about in this video. As long as I've seen any footage of the game or whatnot, I don't want to talk about management at all. I only talk about what I can see, and what I can see is again something very awesome looking. Yeah, another cool thing is that we have these lanterns over here. I don't really know if they're glued to this kind of path, because I was trying to figure, oops, okay, this is maybe a bit too, just zoom out a bit, thank you. I was figuring if they are potentially not placed exactly the same place. What we can tell is that the benches are not part of the pathway. They are just put in here, not exactly the same order. So this one is further away from the lantern than this is, and here we have a bin in between. So this seems to be exactly the same as it is in Planko. Another thing is, I can't really tell if they... It looks that this one is, for example, higher than this one. So again, it looks like they are placed by hand, which again is very important to me. Looking at the people over here is something I enjoy quite a bit because of two things. First things, we have the same people as in Planko, which is good. I like them. They represent a nice art style, but at the same time, they are more or less cartoony, which makes them not national related or whatnot. So it makes the whole thing easier. So I like this quite a bit. But here's the thing: what I found way more interesting. For my liking, this is a baby elephant swimming in the water. I'm not quite sure if it is. I first of all thought of a honey badger over here, but I think it's not. It's just the lighting that kind of creates weird reflections on the little elephant's nose. And also, it kind of appears that these are the ears down here. If I zoom out a little bit more, I mean, it makes sense, right? That we do have an elephant swimming in the elephant enclosure. But here's the point. It's swimming, and it's swimming in the engine-giving water. And for me, that's amazing. That's one hint. When I saw this, I was going crazy. I was completely going nuts, because this means we are not getting some kind of weird pool that we have to place down, like it was in Zoo Tycoon, for example, always the case, that you needed to build like a, water enclosure style, that you can't really, the water you had in other enclosures was always just like to fulfill the need of drinking, rather than giving them a need for example, swimming. Elephants, for example, they need to swim, they need to go down into water, they need to wash themselves, so a lot of things they have to do. And yeah, I don't know, it's just so amazing to see that this seems to be a bit of it. And I mean, this is not, it's totally intentional. This is totally intentional. This one is not just falling down here. And the other thing which I found really interesting is that the people seem to react to the fact that there is an animal down here in the water, which I love, which I really, really do love. Another thing I love, and this is also, again, something that seems to come from a Jurassic World Evolution, and this is as you can see, the enclosure is going that way. Let me just take the brush again. I can just paint the way the enclosure border goes. This is the way the enclosure. Should I do this? I just put that, you know what, I'm just making this a little bit more thick so you guys can see that better. I mean, for my screen that's okay, but you shouldn't be able to see that too good. So here we go. This is the line that the enclosure goes. Okay, boom, full stop. But what's happening here? You can see there is nothing, and also here is nothing. That means we have natural borders, and this is one thing for me as a sandbox player that seems to be amazing, because natural borders mean that I have a lot more freedom in the game. I would have loved this for Jurassic World Evolution a lot more. What I was talking about stolen from there or just taken from there is that you can build the wall between or just through water, which is awesome. It just separates the two tabs here, so that's fine. But on the other hand, it is a kind of, nice addition that we can make natural borders, what you couldn't really do in Jurassic World Evolution. You couldn't just, put some huge boulders in between and, they wouldn't move from one enclosure to the other. You have to put a fence. And even if you left a small little gap in there, they would need it and would use it, which is, I don't know, it is kind of realistic on the one hand, but on the other hand, it's not really what I wanted in a zoo game. I really want to have a more freedom in here for my own gaming style and playing style. So yeah, really something I do enjoy quite a bit, that we seem to have this kind of freedom. But now let's move on and go into this enclosure. I think of the wolves. I'm not exactly sure. I think this should be wolves in here, which is awesome. There's not too much we can spot in this enclosure. However, what you can see here is, and I'm really doubting that this is too safe, to be honest, talking about fences and enclosure borders, you can see that there's just this tiny wall over here, and I'm not quite sure. It seems, at least as it is, a fence, kind of a fence tool, right? It's nothing too nice in terms of, no, it definitely is a fence tool. You can't really build this by hand. So it definitely is a fence, and you can use, let me just zoom in, you can see there is a bit in here which is different than over here. So potentially this means that we do have variants of enclosure fence types, which would be super important because you need, for some areas, you need a bigger fence, and then you want to have also a glass or like a, you know, a window in so people can actually look into. And sometimes it's more important to look down a little bit more, and maybe the natural border is that this enclosure is in its hole a little bit sunken down into the ground so that they can't really jump over. Maybe this boulder just gave me a wrong sighting of this. However, I see something now which I haven't seen previously, and it seems that my guessing from the first part of the video is just kind of revamped, and it seems that the train is actually part of the game, because this looks like a rail, doesn't it? This actually is rail, so that means that the train seems to go through the park, which is awesome. So that means that the maps should be huge. They should be really, really huge. I mean, obviously, yes, zoos are kind of spread out anyways, and if you want to build a huge and gigantic zoo, it makes sense that we have a connection between enclosures and stuff. And I'm really happy that they chose the steam train over any other one. I kind of want to go with a more classic approach in zoos. It is not hyper modern like as Jurassic World Evolution. So I'm totally begging for this. I'm totally into this. However, let's move on. And the next bit I wanted to go in is just this area over here. It is just a smaller area, but I think we can also take some nice things out here. So I guess that these are little shops or whatever. Maybe these are kind of style elements, because as you can see, the path isn't really connected to anything else here. This thing could be connected though. This seems not to be connected. I don't know what exactly this is. This looks absolutely like a piece-by-piece building, so maybe it's just for style, maybe it has a purpose, but I don't really know if so or not. But this one definitely has a purpose, and you can actually see that this is an awning over here. One of the awnings you can really tell they're taken like from Planet Coaster, and what you can see else is it's not perfectly sticked to this building. Obviously this is round, this is like flat, straight, so it doesn't really fit onto it, but this also gives me a good idea of the fact that it is piece by piece building again. I can't really figure what this all is over here. It kind of looks like, as this is like a little fence in between, and this looks like a little bit of a tunnel which goes then into the bigger area on the left hand side. I'm absolutely buying this building over here. It looks so 19th century-esque, industrialization. I don't know, it really screams nice architecture to my eyes, and I totally love this one. However, the chimney game might be taken a little bit too seriously here. I don't know, but this one is another special area I wanted to hint at because of two things. And now I need to make the whole thing a little bit more similar again. There we go. So let me just put this one here and paint this over. One thing you can see is, and maybe you will call me crazy now, but this is not aligned. My OCD called me in this moment, and yes, you can say, hey, you're zooming in, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I am zooming in quite a bit, but if you don't buy in for this one, you should be buying in for this one. Let me just paint this again. Boom. So this is again, we also have window pieces again. I'm just pointing this out so often because I really find this is so super important to have the chance to make this all a lot more individualized. And you know, it would be kind of boring if we would have a zoo game where you have some preset buildings, put them in some prefabs, and here you go, and after 2 months every zoo would kind of look like the same. By the way, super excuse me for my weird pronunciation today. I'm trying to speak somewhat with all the pain in my mouth. My tongue is really hurt from one of my teeth is actually not good at the moment, and it kind of hurts my tongue, so I kind of try to speak a little bit around it, but it really some special noises I need to make while talking are hurting extremely, so I naturally try to avoid them, and this results into a weird pronunciation. I like it even weirder than usually, so sorry about that. But let me continue with showing something off. Where's the zoom again? Here is the zoom. So we've seen quite a bit in the far back, we've seen quite a bit in the foreground, but we haven't looked into this area over here. There are also a lot of interesting bits and pieces over here. First of all, different vegetation. So we have the more European looking ones, okay. We do have different kind of lampposts. You see these ones, and we have these classic ones. These ones are a little bit shorter than these ones. You can see this lantern, which we also have in the foreground, but we also have these kind of Baroque-esque buildings. I don't know really what that is, with lovely glass roofings. I think it is glass roofings. This does really fit into a zoo. I don't really know what kind of purpose they have, or if they just exist like a landmark kind of thing. Don't really know if that's kind of a thing, but yeah. Well, the next bit I wanted to point out, and this is maybe even more important than what I want to show you over here, is let me just take the paint tool again. Whoops, this one over here and this bit over here. Let me just delete that, because the reason for showing off is these seem to be the same fence, like the same enclosure fence, just repainted. Bear in mind, it's just my guess, but it seems we can repaint or maybe even retexture, because this seems to be like a stucco kind of wall, and this seems to be, if we look down here, I don't know if we maybe need to zoom out a bit. Let me just see. Yeah, that makes the whole thing a bit more. Let me just try to zoom in a bit more carefully. Come on. Yeah, that should be it. It looks like brick. That looks totally like brick, and this does look like stucco, doesn't it? So it seems that we do have these kind of elements in here as separate elements. So we have one type of fence which has a certain security level and a certain style, whatnot, and then in the end it does look different, because you can also restyle it, which I totally love, to be honest. It seems like a simple thing, but it's very important to have repainting stuff. It would be, again, super boring if we haven't. Yeah, in terms of animals, we can't really see more, I guess, and maybe I haven't spotted anything else, but yeah. No, I don't really see any more animals than these two. But we're also having a look onto the trailer, which also gives us an idea which kind of animals we have. But let's just move into the last area I wanted to talk about with you. Where's my zoom tool? There is my zoom tool. And this is this little area down here. So let me zoom over. What I really loved over here, this is, sorry for pointing that out. Front here, if you see that, I love you guys, but I needed to point that out. It's just too good. I just found this flag down here, which seems to be like a flag. I don't really know if this is like an Easter egg, but whatever you did here, this guy doesn't feel well. Sorry, Mr. Stark, I don't feel well. He's kind of stuck into the wall, and this one is again stuck into the wall, but it looks like a nice flag post, however. And I kind of love that we do have these flags from Jurassic World Evolution. We had them as well, so I kind of like that we do have this. Also, I like these railings in the fence, in the windows. I don't know if that's even a window, but it looks like this. And what I also do like is, and if I move out a bit and zoom totally to the right hand side, you can see two things from this area over here, which is great. And I feel like this is again something which is a combination from what we have seen in Jurassic World Evolution and what the kind of vista points in Planet Coaster do. So these people on top of this little terrace, I want to call it a terrace. This is definitely built with the normal pathing tool. I hope it's improved. And this is also elevated a little bit. In Planet Coaster, that doesn't change anything unless you put something interesting on there. But it seems that these people are using this as an elevated platform to view the animals, which kind of makes me feel we have an element of viewports, which I think is, again, something that I've taken from Jurassic World Evolution. And to be honest, this is one of the greater things of the game, or one of the great things, I should say, that we have these kind of viewports, and you have to make sure that people really look exactly at what they want to see. And they also want to go to different locations to have the best view, which seems to be the case in here, because people seem to use this border to look at this enclosure. So yeah, a lot of great things in here. The last very bit I wanted to look at is not only that we have different vegetation, I want to kind of count or just look into, so with these kind of banana palm trees, we have, yeah, it looks like a little bit of an oak tree, variants of an oak tree, I guess, with maybe recolor option. I was not sure to say that, but it seems at least that, I don't know if this makes sense, but they are standing right next to each other. They look pretty similar to me, but I could be totally wrong and they're just like repainted ones. However, we do have these two palm tree variants. This left one is one by one the one from Planet Coaster from the adventure pack. I would put my hand into fire. This is the same model, just improved. Then we have another palm tree, which is a bit more like the original Planko palm tree. We have this like, looks like a little bit of an olive tree, I don't know. We have this, I don't know how this is called. Is this like the Berbrat tree or whatever this is called, but like an African tree. And then we have also these kind of trees down here, which look even more like no, it's not a baobab, I don't know. We do have these little things, and there's one specific thing I wanted to point out. Again, no clue if that's true or not, but this seems to be the same tree, just differently grown. Please, this is just me guessing, but if we get growables in the game, I'm going to die. I'm going to scream the whole day. This will be one of the greatest things in life. And honestly, that would be, I would kiss Frontier right away, because that would mean that we have a dynamic in the enclosures that makes the enclosure grow, that you can't really have the enclosure from the very first minute, that you have to wait a little bit until the enclosure really fulfills what it is meant to be after a certain time. But I don't really know. This is like a degree of detail I don't really expect, because it just might go a little bit too far, but I would love to see that. And this kind of hints to it, but it could be also just a different model. I don't know, because we have the same model down here. Again, I don't know. Just please don't take too much out of it. Again, we have some more trees down here, and we have some different trees over here. It seems that we have a huge variation of trees already, which is awesome. So I think I should have covered everything. Maybe the last bit I should point out is that we have, again, different path types in the park. We have, I think, 2 of these we do already know from Planet Coaster. I'm pretty sure that they use the same textures and just improved it. If I move down here, it pretty much, oops, again, wow, what I'm always doing. It even seems that they took the same, it kind of has changed a little bit, this one over here. We still have the curbs, we still have the option to have railings or no railings and curb or no curb. At least I hope. No, I'm pretty sure we do have the same options. I think we don't need to point that out even more, but maybe for the new people who don't know too much about Planet Coaster, because seriously, there will be a lot of people interested into a zoo game more than in a roller coaster game. But since they share basically, I think, more than 80% of the engine, that might be a good point to start. However, this should be it for the screenshot. And now let's look into the trailer for last time and see what we can take out of the trailer. Already a little hint over here. This won't be taking too long, because again, it's concept art and I don't want to kind of try to think too much into it, because it's, again, concept. So see you in a bit. Alright, so here we are back with the trailer analysis. And one thing, before we go into the analysis, I would just want to start the trailer off here, and then I want to show you something in a bit. Okay, let's stop here, and now I'm going to show you something over here on the right hand side. Come on, this is taking longer than I expected. There we go. So, as you can see, these 2 trailers, and I love that I kind of kept the same style over here. There we go. It kind of is the same look to it, because it's definitely is also pre-rendered, as you can see. The style is pretty similar. It just kind of evolved over time. What I wanted to point out is that, and this is why I took this trailer again, to make sure that you guys understand what I meant with concept art. So obviously we can see weather. We never had weather in Planet Coaster. This makes total sense, because this shows what the vision is like, right? We don't also have this kind of path type in the game. So a lot of things we don't really have in the game. However, a lot of things you can take out of it. boom, terrain tool. One of the strengths of Planet Coaster was a very, very unique advanced Planet Coaster terrain tool, what not really other games had in that kind of level of detail. And you know, you take this for granted, but you totally forget about time that this has been one of the greatest things to date. And if you look at other games, for example, like City Skylines, so they also have terrain tools, but not nearly as powerful. And also people in Jurassic World Evolution complaining to not having the same level of control of the terrain. And this trailer hinted at this already. Boom, there we go. The trailer also hinted at building piece by piece, as you can see in the background. Boom, 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 it all put down. So then we have this thing creating over here. Boom. You can see how this all slowly starts to get in. And a lot of things you can see in the later game, for example, a vendor. You can see we have lovely little benches and bins that are sticking to the side of the path. We have these lampposts, which seems to be put by hand because like they're not leveled up exactly. And now as we go even more in here, you can see that the coaster is built also a little bit by bit. If we go a little bit more into it, we're going to Planet Zoo in a while. I just want to show you something. We have this little guy over here, which is Gulpy Rex, and you can see in the later stage of the development that Gulpy Rex was the main character, like the main entertainer in the game. We have some hints in here. This is a attraction we had in the release game. We have Pizza, which was one of the brands that is in the game. It kind of is a little bit, you know, changed. This is a ride which was in the game. This is a ride. This is a ride. This is a ride. So a lot of things that are in the final release of the game, except this entrance, that kind of show already what the game wants. And as you can see, there's a brand, Chief Beef, which became really big in the game. We have different, you know, rides which have already the name that they're called, like even today Revolve is the game blueprint, how it is called. So it is concept art, yes, but it also shows what the game will be like. And this is how we are going to look at the left-handed trailer, which I'm going to put now full in the spot over here. And we're not going to watch it again because I have, you know, this is why I made separate videos. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. Separate videos, and this is to make it more easy for you. If you want to look, you can watch this video. If you don't, bear in mind that I have another video where I have the trailer in twice, so you can also watch this one. So let's start from the beginning, and this is our little girl. This time we have a girl as a main character, and she is starting to paint her vision, which is what the trailer does. It paints a vision, and she is drawing the entrance. And legitimately, in this moment, I lost everything. I was running through my room. I was screaming. I was jumping. I don't know, I can't really remember what I exactly did, but this is awesome. Yeah, you can see that this is the entrance. We are going in. We have some planters to the left and right hand side. However, this will be a building. As always, an entrance building is important, that it fulfills some features. We have a little water thing over here, which is featuring a bridge. And then there is something which is important. Okay, here we go again. Sorry, I don't know what exactly that was. I was kind of clicking some weird things here and I was ending the video. So we are now in the VLC player, and one thing I wanted to point out is going to happen now on this area over here. Let me see. The planter falls down, boom, and now poof, the tree comes in. Again, piece by piece building, and this is awesome because you can see that you can use these things alongside each other as single elements. So next bit over here is also confirming that we have windows in here. The wall gets constructed, and boom, there goes the elephant. Important thing, it's been delivered, it's in a box, and obviously the box is smaller than the elephant, so I wonder if this elephant might not be a cat actually. Never mind, this is just content art, makes the whole thing look a little more cute, but which is way more important is this guy over here. This is one of our trainers, or maybe just a staff guy, but it's more likely that he's a trainer. So yeah, we can also see that we do have trainers, which makes sense, or staff guys in the game. So yeah, the little elephant now is going to look at her new friend, looking and taking a selfie, which is super lovely because this is what people in Planet Coaster do as well. Actually, they're not taking selfies, they are making normal photos. So maybe we can see guests taking selfies in the game, which again, level of detail front here is always awesome, so this is again super amazing. Next bit over here is the ball rolling in, also confirmed from the screenshot. They will be able to play, which is awesome. Now let's see what's happening. The little pup is going to play with the ball here and is going to hit her mother or her dad, should be her mother actually. And as you can see, she is drinking from a little bit. This looks more like a fountain. This looks really more like not natural water. This looks like a drinking station, so to say. And she's going to spit the water onto her little kid, which is awesome. And now the next important thing is going to happen in this still. Our little lady is already arrived over here. She's looking down into the area, which is great because, again, what I said, they're using now the area with some viewports. Super awesome. But what is really interesting for me is that we do have this peep over here. He is going to talk to those people and giving them an instruction what's happening down there. I like this element. I really hope that this is feeling natural and this is feeling super awesome. Another little Easter egg, by the way, I wanted to point out, this is our Planko guy. He's also visiting the Planet Zoo, which is awesome. He's again over here as well. I just wanted to hint that this is the Planko guy you have seen just in the trailer. So I just wanted to point that out. I found this really hilarious. So the next bit we can see is here, this guy coming out of here. So we have, it seems we have different staff members, which I find, hopefully they take inspiration from this lovely game Parkitect, where we do have a lot more stuff interaction. I would love to see that we do have more roads and kind of things like that. This should be really, really cool if it is kind of realized in a good way. So yeah, I really hope that this works. But yeah, good to see that we have an instructor over here, and this seems to be like a little bit of a carrier guy who's going to bring stuff around. So let's go a little bit further in the video. You can see, by the way, you can see two lions sleeping over here. It seems there is a fence missing, which is a bit unfortunate, I should say. But yeah, so I think the fence should be coming in a bit. There's at least a gate coming, which is good. There we have the lion sleeping in here, and now it should be important to have a gate. Yeah, there we go. This is awesome with the lion jumping in here. Lovely animations. I mean, yes, it's pre-rendered footage, so it's not really what we're going to see in the end, but look at the level of detail. Look at the animation. I love this so super much. This little monster on the t-shirt is nice. Let me just pause this here. So you can see in the background giraffes coming in. This is a hippo down here, which I did miss a few times in the first iterations, and it kind of looks like the hippo we have in Planet Coaster. However, it is just an animatronic we have in Planet Coaster. But some bits I wanted to point out here is, again, we have kids, we have families, we have groups, which is one element I loved about Planet Coaster. It's lovely to see, and boom, there we go. She is taking a photo of the hippos. Again, I hope that this will be also an element. I hope that you still need to kind of sell photos maybe of animals, so maybe you have a photo station somewhere, but people have a smartphone nowadays, so this might not become too much of an important element. Again, this is just my speculation. I don't know. So next bit is this still over here. You can see when the other guy just came out of the little storage building, I don't know, he was carrying empty bins, and now he's got some filled ones with what seems like meat in there. So let's continue watching what's going on. And yeah, we have a bear lying down in here, another bear coming out of his little cave over there, which is awesome. And he's, as you may have seen, let me just pause it again in this little bit before we switch. Boom, he's filling this little nap over here, which, oh, I love this. Oh god, this is so awesome. Okay, so lovely animations of the bear as well. Not too much crazy stuff to see in here, which kind of is, yeah, but this should be okay. Let's pause it here. This is also confirmation, again, from the trailer to the screenshot we saw. We have kind of a little tap over here, which is not really a lake or whatnot. It's just a little bit of a water pond, which is created with the terrain tool. I'm pretty sure about that. And the bear is interacting with it, which I find really interesting. Also, this is a hint already how the bits and pieces look in the game already. This looks like strange meat, maybe not bio, but I don't know. So let me just guess, but I don't know. It's just these little things, and the bear is going to, yeah, kind of enjoy his little meal over here. Okay, let's go on. They are now having a little bit of a chat over here over their food. Let's speed up the whole process a little bit. So we go to the next bit. Oops, let me just pause this right over here before we go. Oh no, that was a little bit too far. Yeah, just jump back a little bit. So you can see down here, a little bit hidden, but there is the African savanna, and there is a guy standing down here. Not too sure what this means, but potentially, maybe if it's just for the looks of it, but maybe you have an instructor also who's giving you an idea of what the area is about and what you can see over there. We have a lovely shop over here. I can't really tell what this is. Seems like a souvenir shop, whatever, but yeah, not too important. It is definitely piece by piece. Wait a second, I haven't seen that. Have you seen this? Wait, I haven't seen that in the last bit. Boom! There is a little... Oh god, how is this called? Is this also lemur in... how is this thing called? It's a maki. A maki. This looks like a maki, isn't it? Yeah, looks like this. And it's jumping around in here. Wow. Oh god, this is awesome. This is really awesome. Okay, but now you can see the door is opening to an entire new world. So, two things here. I'm really hoping. First thing is maybe we can deal with extensions of the park and having to put gates in and really cluster the areas by their real life location. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah, well, if we zoom in now and we have our little lion standing over here, the logo turns in, but I don't want to have the logo in quite yet. Let's just stop before there is the, okay, I need to wait even more. Great. Okay, so this, oh gosh, this will take a few minutes, guys. I'm sorry, because there's so much in here. I can't really tell too much. I can't zoom in here, I guess. Can I zoom somehow? No, I can't. Anyways, we have our elephants down here. Okay, full stop. Lion. Okay, full stop. Bear. Right. We have. It kind of seems like zebras over here. This seems to be a zebra as well. But now the interesting bit about the whole thing is this bit over here in the background. It looks like maybe a bird cage, a big aviary or something. It even looks like the aviary from Jurassic World Evolution, to be honest. Not too sure if that's really the thing. Another great thing over here is also seemingly a little bit of a glass house. So again, concept art, yes, but this really shows how the developers approach the zoo game, and they really think of these things, which I really feel like is super awesome. Yes, aviary is important, but also outside elements, outside enclosures, various types of kind of textures from the grounds. You can see this is like green and with the rock cliff texture. This looks like somewhat of an Arabian area. This looks like more African with like the red soil and stuff like that. And you know, to the left hand side it looks like more European, Middle European, I don't know, even going to the north. Really, really awesome. So let's just zoom in a tiny bit more. Last bit I want to talk about is the logo. The logo, it doesn't really hint at too much, but it definitely gives us an idea that they are continuing the brand building of Planet Coaster with Planet Zoo. So it's not an extension, it's an own standing game, which is awesome, but it's so much more. It's kind of building a franchise. To be honest, I'm not really clear in my mind if there is more to it, if we can have more like Planet skiing, I don't know, but it kind of gives an idea that it's just like a logical evolution of the Planet Coaster brand. So we had Zoo Tycoon, we had Roller Coaster Tycoon, we have Hotel Tycoon and these kind of things. So Frontier is making a step to establish themselves as sandbox tycoon-esque developer, which for me is absolutely amazing. I love this step, and as I said, everything I've seen so far makes me incredibly hyped. Don't get me wrong, I've not seen anything else than you guys have. This is all I have material I've shared with you guys now. There's not more. I can't really talk about more. There's a press kit we got where are also some infos in, but I've left these infos with you already in here. So it is just incredible how hyped I am and how good this already looks. So let me just end this video by saying a big thanks to all of you waiting for me to make more videos, obviously, but also thanks to Frontier for delivering a zoo game. I have no clue if it's good or not, but at least I know that this will be a great thing for me. If it's just half as good as the trailer and the concept art and the screenshot looks, I'm already happy. Okay, maybe that shouldn't be my approach on judging things, but never mind, this is how I see it. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this analysis video. Sorry it got a little bit too long for my liking, but yeah, I hope you enjoy it, and I hope to see you in the next video, which will be in Planet Coaster again, maybe this week, I don't know. I will prepare a lot more videos for the next couple of weeks, so keep updated, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't been subscribed here, because I will put down a lot more input to Planet Zoo as soon as we get more. I'm hoping that Frontier continues to give me these little sneak peeks which I can give to you, because I'm super hyped. I'm super happy to announce this to you guys, to show it, to discuss it with you. And now go down below in the description and put down your wishes, your likings, your ideas, your feedback. What have you spotted in the screenshots? What have you spotted in other things that Frontier has published right now? What have you seen in general? I mean, let me just know what you guys think about the Planet Zoo. Are you in for a zoo game? Are you liking it? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. Let's start a discussion, and let's see each other in the next video. Bye bye until then, and have a great day, guys.